Wow. Okay, so get this. The U.S. is about to spend like $500 billion on AI development.
Yeah.
500 billion.
What?
It's insane, right? Like they're basically saying, watch this world. We're about to blow the space race out of the water. You know?
Yeah, it really is. It's a staggering amount. To put it in perspective, they're comparing this investment to the one that built the interstate highway system back in the 50s.
You're kidding.
No, I'm serious.
The one that like basically connected the whole country.
Exactly.
Wow. So we're talking about like a complete game changer on that level.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, it could be huge.
Okay, so we dug into this article, translated from French, the historic announcement, The Future of Artificial Intelligence in the United States. And let me tell you, it's pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
Okay, so let's dive in. What's the big picture here?
Well, it's not just about, like creating fancy algorithms or anything. This investment is all about building the foundation, the physical infrastructure to handle all the data that AI needs.
Okay.
We're talking massive amounts of data. Think like server farms the size of small cities springing up across the country.
So instead of like asphalt and concrete, we're laying down data cables.
You got it.
Okay.
It's like creating a digital nervous system for the entire country.
Wow. And maybe even the world.
Could be, yeah. I mean, who knows how far this will go.
Okay, so we've got these massive data centers humming away. What are they actually going to be powering? Like, what's the real world impact of all of this?
Well, they're going to power like everything. We're talking self-driving cars, personalized medicine, all kinds of things.
Oh, wow. Okay, so like just as the highways opened up all sorts of new possibilities, this data infrastructure could lead to like whole new industries that we can't even imagine yet, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just about new industries. It's about, transforming existing ones. Think about healthcare, for example. Imagine a world where your doctor could like instantly access every medical journal and case study, tailor treatments to your specific genetic makeup.
Okay, now you're talking. So we're talking about like revolutionizing healthcare,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Wow.
And education too. Your child could learn astrophysics from the world's leading expert no matter where you live.
Okay, wow. Talk about leveling the playing field. Right?
Good time.
Wow, this is amazing. So the article dives into some specific examples, right? Like what companies are actually working on this stuff?
Yeah, there's a section about Oracle, for example. They're talking about using global medical data to like completely revolutionize healthcare.
Okay, let's say I'm sitting in a doctor's office 10 years from now. What does this actually look like for me?
Okay, so instead of relying on, a limited number of tests and the doctor's own knowledge, they could run your symptoms through an AI system that's analyzed like millions of similar cases worldwide.
Oh, wow.
Spot patterns and suggest diagnoses that a human doctor might miss.
Wow, so AI it's like having a million doctors in the room with you.
Exact.
Okay, so that's diagnosis. What about treatment? You mentioned personalized treatments. How does that work?
Well, think about all the data we generate, like genetic information, lifestyle choices, environmental factors, things like that.
Right.
AI can analyze all that to predict your risk for certain diseases and then suggest preventative measures that are tailored just for you.
Okay, that's incredible. I mean, it sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
I know, right? But it's real. It's happening now.
So this is all about healthcare, right? But the potential isn't limited to just healthcare, is it?
No, not at all. The article also talks about how AI could revolutionize education. And we're not talking about, replacing teachers or anything like that.
Right.
But it's about giving them powerful tools, bringing the world's leading experts into every classroom.
So my kid could be learning like marketing strategies from the people who built Amazon.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Okay, so let's talk money. Everyone's talking about investing in AI, right?
Yeah.
But where do you even begin? Like, if I want to get in on this, what do I do?
Well, I mean, the big tech companies, they're obviously going to see a boost from this. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon,
Right.
They're already heavily invested in AI, and this is just going to, accelerate their progress.
Okay, but let's say I'm not looking to buy stock in those giants. Where should I be looking? Like, who are the up-and-comers?
Well, think back to that highway analogy we were talking about earlier. It wasn't just the car companies that thrived during that time. There were companies that supplied the asphalt, the concrete, the construction equipment.
Ah, okay, I see what you're saying. So you're saying, like, look beyond the obvious players.
Exactly. Look
Yeah.
for those, picks and shovels companies in the AI gold rush.
Okay, so who are some of these companies? Like, give me some names.
Okay, well, the article highlights a few. There's a company called Vertiv.
Yeah.
They specialize in cooling systems for data centers, which are essential because all those servers generate a ton of heat.
Yeah, I can imagine. So Vertiz is all about keeping those data centers cool.
Yeah, that's their thing. And then there's Modine.
Okay.
They're focused on prefabricated data centers. Speed is key in this race.
Right.
So being able to quickly deploy these massive data centers, that's a huge advantage.
Like a Lego set for the digital age.
Exactly. And then there's Navitas.
Navitas, okay.
They're all about the silicon supply chain, basically providing the raw materials for the brains of all this AI processing power.
Okay, so these are all companies that, like, most people wouldn't even think of.
Right.
But they're essential to the whole AI ecosystem.
Exactly. And if AI takes off the way everyone's predicting, these companies could see some serious growth.
Like investing in asphalt during the highway boom.
Precisely. It's about anticipating where the demand is going to be.
Okay, so we've talked about the infrastructure, the potential impact on healthcare and education, some investment opportunities. Where do we go from here? Like, what's the next step?
Well, I think it's crucial to step back and remember that historical parallel, with the highway system. The interstate highway system, it didn't just change how we travel, it transformed American society.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so this AI investment, you're saying it's about more than just like faster computers and smarter algorithms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's much bigger than that. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how we work, live, interact with the world.
It's like the highways connected physical locations,
Yeah.
but this data infrastructure is connecting information and ideas.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
in ways we can barely imagine.
Wow. And just like the highways led to like suburbs and fast food chains, this AI revolution could create entirely new industries, entirely new ways of life.
Frankly.
It's exciting, but it's also kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of both, but that's why it's so important to understand what's happening. Start thinking about how to navigate this new landscape.
So for our listeners out there, this isn't just some abstract tech news. This is about your future. This is about all of our futures.
Absolutely. We're all going to be impacted by this, one way or another. The question is, will you be ready for it?
Will you be ready?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it really does feel like we're at some kind of tipping point here. This isn't just about making computers smarter or whatever. This is about changing, like,
Right.
everything.
Yeah, exactly. And with, a change this big, there are a lot of questions that come up, Some people might be listening thinking, okay, so this AI stuff is cool and all, but like, how does this actually affect me? Like, what does it actually mean for me?
Right. Yeah. It's easy to like get caught up in the big picture stuff.
Yeah.
But what does this mean for our everyday lives?
Right. Well, I think, for one thing, this level of investment shows that AI is not just some niche technology anymore, It's going to be as like common as electricity.
Wow. Okay. So it's not just happening in labs and stuff. That's going to be everywhere,
Yeah.
like woven into our lives.
Exactly. And that means we all need to be thinking about like, how do we adapt? How do we thrive in this new world?
Right. Yeah. And I can see how that could be like a little intimidating for some people. Like what are some practical things that people can do to, get ready for this AI future?
Well, I think first and foremost, I would say embrace lifelong learning.
Okay.
The job market's going to be changing all the time as AI takes over certain tasks and new jobs are created.
So we can't just like rely on the skills we have now, right?
Yeah.
We've got to keep learning, keep evolving.
Exactly.
What kind of skills are going to be like in demand?
Well, I mean, technical skills will always be important.
Sure.
But it's not just about like coding and engineering, The real value comes when you combine those technical skills with uniquely human capabilities.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, emotional intelligence, these are things that AI can't replicate, at least not yet.
Okay, so it's like AI can be the engine, but humans need to be the steering wheel.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good analogy. We need to be the ones asking the right questions, interpreting the data, making those crucial decisions.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But I got to admit, there's a part of me that's a little wary of all this. I mean, we've all seen those sci-fi movies where the robots take over.
Right.
Is there a risk of that happening in real life?
Yeah, I understand that concern. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad. But I think it's important to remember that AI is a reflection of us, the humans who create it.
Right.
Yeah.
So the key is to make sure it's developed responsibly, ethically.
Exactly, exactly. And that's where informed citizens like our listeners come in. It's up to all of us to demand transparency and accountability from the people who are developing and deploying these technologies.
So we can't just like trust that everything's going to be fine.
Right.
We have to be involved.
Absolutely. This isn't just a technological revolution. This is a societal revolution. We need to have those tough conversations about the ethical implications of AI, and make sure it's used to benefit humanity as a whole.
Right. Okay. So to recap, we've talked about the potential of AI to transform healthcare and education. We've talked about, investment opportunities, the importance of adaptability and lifelong learning.
Yeah.
But we also need to be aware of the potential risks and make sure AI is developed responsibly.
Yeah, you summed it up perfectly. This is a time of great opportunity, but also potential danger. The decisions we make today are going to determine what kind of future we create.
Right. And speaking of the future, the article makes an interesting point about the global implications of this AI investment.
Right. It's not just an American story. If the U.S. succeeds in becoming like the global leader in AI, it's going to have ripple effects around the world.
Wow. Okay. So this is about like more than just technological advancement. It's about global leadership, global influence.
Exactly. Think of it like a new kind of space race. But, instead of rockets and satellites, it's algorithms and data centers.
Wow. And the stakes are just as high, if not higher.
Absolutely. This is about economic dominance, military superiority, even cultural influence. The whole world is watching to see who emerges as the AI superpower.
Okay, this is suddenly feeling a lot more serious than just some cool new gadgets.
Right.
We're talking about like the reshaping of the global order.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit like the early days of the internet. Nobody could have predicted the profound impact it would have on our lives.
Right.
And AI has that same transformative potential, but on an even grander scale.
Wow. Okay, I need a minute to process all this. This is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. But, this is why we're having this conversation.
Right.
We need to understand the implications of AI, the good and the bad, so we can make informed choices about the future we want to create.
So where do we go from here? What's the next step for our listeners who want to be, active participants in this AI revolution?
Well, I think the first step is just staying informed, reading articles, listening to podcasts, following experts in the field.
Yeah, don't just like let it wash over you,
Yeah.
Engage with the ideas, ask questions.
Exactly, exactly. And then think about how you can apply what you're learning to your own life, to your own career. What skills can you develop? What opportunities can you seize?
Be proactive, not reactive.
Yeah, I like that.
The future's being written right now,
Yeah.
and we all have a part to play in it.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, we can't predict the future, but we can prepare for it. And in the age of AI, the most valuable asset will be our ability to learn, adapt, and create.
Powerful stuff. Yeah, it's really mind-blowing to think that we're not just talking about some like technological evolution here. This is like a turning point.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It really does feel that way. This AI revolution, I mean, it has the potential to reshape like everything, from the global landscape to our own personal lives.
Right. And so much of what we've talked about today has been about, preparing for this future and everything. But I'm also kind of curious about like the opportunities,
Yeah.
it can't be all doom and gloom, right?
Right, exactly. No, not at all. In fact, I think this is like one of the most exciting times to be alive. I mean, we're on the verge of unlocking incredible possibilities,
Okay. So paint me a picture. What does a positive AI powered future look like?
Okay. Imagine a world where like diseases are diagnosed and treated before they even appear, where everyone has access to personalized education, where clean energy and sustainable solutions are just the norm.
Wow. Okay, it sounds pretty utopian. But how do we get from like where we are now to that kind of future?
Well, it starts with understanding, the power of AI and harnessing it for good. We need to invest in research and development, but also in ethical frameworks and regulations to make sure AI is used responsibly.
Right.
So it's like we're holding this incredibly powerful tool, and we got to figure out how to use it wisely.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. We can't just focus on the technology itself. We have to think about the societal and ethical implications too.
So it's not just about building like smarter machines, it's about building a better world.
Exactly, exactly. AI has the potential to amplify, both the best and the worst aspects of humanity. So it's up to us to make sure we're steering it in the right direction.
Yeah. And I think our listeners are getting a sense of like the scale of what we're talking about here. I mean, this isn't just some, geeky tech trend. This is a fundamental shift like
Yeah.
in how we live and work and interact with the world. Absolutely, and it's happening now, We're not talking about some distant future. The choices we're making right now, they're shaping the world of tomorrow.
Okay, so what's the takeaway for our listeners? Like, what can they do to be, part of this AI revolution?
Well, I would say the most important thing is to stay curious. Don't be afraid to learn new things, experiment, challenge your own
Yeah,
assumptions.
this isn't a spectator sport. We all have a role to play here.
Exactly. And remember the future isn't like set in stone, It's
Yeah.
it's a result of the choices we make today.
Yeah, that's a powerful thought. We're not just passengers. We're the ones, holding the steering wheel.
Exactly. And the destination is up to us.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the details of this massive AI investment to its potential to, change the world as we know it.
Yeah.
I hope our listeners are walking away feeling, informed and maybe even a little inspired.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a really fascinating conversation, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for AI and for all of us.
Yeah, this deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about. I'm sure our listeners feel the same way.
Yeah, the AI revolution is here, and it's time to, embrace the possibilities.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries.